Don't be a lemon. Be a rosebud.
Behold the power of magnetism. What would your finishing maneuver be called?
The circumcision.
Follow the process.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast, the wrestling podcast where we review every segment of Raw and give you the wrestling news of the week. I am your host, Turbo Tony. Here as always, we've got the dirtiest player in the podcast game. He's styling, he's profiling, jet flying, limousine riding son of a gun, Matt Marsander.
I like.
Yeah, that was a
I
lot.
approve of this one. Yeah.
That was a lot better than a couple of weeks ago where I just completely failed on one.
It's like whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. How are you doing this week, Matt?
Better.
Yeah.
Improve.
You're surviving for your.
Same.
Yeah. This week we don't have any TNA review. I'm sad to state to our listeners. The reason being is because I've had like loads of vents put in my house, which means that throughout the middle of the day I wasn't being able to be inside of my house while the work is going on, and even if I were, I wouldn't be able to hear it because all the stuff is obviously too loud and there's just been loads of stuff going on in the house. So
yeah.
I'd barely be able to get through my WWE stuff this week, but I did anyway. I persevered, but no TNA review this week. That'll be back to normal next week, I imagine. So. If I miss anything...
You've now got to watch 4 hours of TNA.
4 hours of TNA, lovely. But, it'll be alright. I'll catch back up on it. Won't be too much of an issue. At least now it's somewhat watchable. And it's not as if I'm just trudging through a lot of stuff. But no TNA review this week. No NXT review either. Just Raw this week for you guys to enjoy. And we'll cover a lot of that. But we do have a wrestling topic this week, Matt. We have a wrestling topic that I know that, well, at very least, I'm excited to talk about is, to a degree, do we believe that WWE suffers from a degree of racism? Quite an important topic here. We're looking back at some of the booking of wrestlers past, most notably their black superstars and their Japanese wrestlers that have come into the company. We're going to talk about whether they've been mishandled, whether we believe that WWE at its core is racist. Is it or not? We don't know. We'll talk about it later, and be a very interesting conversation. We haven't done a wrestling topic in a while because, you know, the predictions often get in the way. We were expecting an extra week last week in the pay-per-view build-up, but we got it this week. So there you go. You can enjoy that at the end of the podcast there for you. And if you missed it, we did a review of the pay-per-view. Matt dragged us into the studio, as we call it, and we recorded the review for you.
Wasn't going to miss another one.
No, we're on a roll on pay-per-views, at least WWE ones. So yeah, you guys can catch that as well on the page on the. I'm getting all technologically dumbfounded at the moment, which is odd. Our channel page, there you go. It's not exactly hard to remember, but yeah, you can cover that on there. And also, if you're new to the podcast, if you do enjoy it, then hit that subscribe button. That way you won't miss any future episodes of the podcast going forward. But enough of that, man. We've got wrestling news to get through. And we've also got a Raw review to get through as well. Interesting Raw after WWE Battleground, obviously, at the weekend. Interesting stuff going on there. But let's talk about the news. We were just talking about this, actually, before we began recording. Daniel Bryan, you may as well call him Batman. Or, Spider-Man. Or, he's just the new local superhero. Because he took a bite out of crime. Well, you can't imagine anyone, sitting around and letting their house being burgled as soon as they walk in on them doing it. So Daniel Bryan, anyway, he apprehended a burglar at his home. There were two people robbing lots of stuff from his house. He managed to get one in a... What did you say there, Matt? You know more details about this than I do, so...
We got him in a chokehold.
Oh, like an MMA style.
Rear naked chokehold.
Oh, okay. Not bad for a guy with a serious neck injury, isn't it? Just to run this guy down.
Recovery, isn't he?
Yeah, he's in recovery, but obviously still able to get around. For people saying, "Oh, well, he should be in the ring if he's able," well, no, it's two completely different things,
Yeah.
Now, from what we heard is throughout the week, he just came back from the San Diego Comic-Con and came back with his wife just to see the two guys rummaging through his shit, and he decided, obviously,
"Hey, Dick, get my throws."
Among the stuff that was stolen was gifts given to him by his sister-in-law, Nikki Bella, who's obviously on Raw this week. In fact, they were both on Raw this week. But so yeah, he managed to apprehend them and get that stuff back. So kudos to him. I wish that I had 2 able-bodied legs so I could chase people running out of my house, but there isn't anything in my house worth stealing, really, apart from this laptop, maybe. Maybe that's about it. I live very frivolously. I don't know, Matt. I kind of have all the stuff I need, and nothing else. So
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
that's it. So yeah, interesting stuff there. And this is actually only yesterday that the story came out. So I'm glad that we recorded
Hot
it today.
news.
Yeah, we're hot news off the press. Some would say. In regards to that, talking of San Diego Comic-Con, another guy made an appearance. His first WWE live appearance. You may know him as Sting. He arrived at Comic-Con. This is his first appearance at a WWE sanctioned event, if you can call it that. And he was promoting his action figure, the first WWE endorsed action figure from Sting.
That's it.
The guy seemed really happy. You have to say for that, he looks refreshed. I have to say, he looks very, very happy to be there. And there was an awesome picture posted up after this of him, Hogan, Daniel Bryan, obviously, and Paul Heyman.
Heyman, yeah.
Awesome little picture. And it seems surreal. It does seem surreal. Seeing him surrounded with all the WWE logos, talking about WWE, him talking to Michael Cole, nonetheless. That was very odd. But I guess that's part of the appeal of having Sting in there, is that, he is the last big star to never have signed with the company, and obviously now he has. It's interesting stuff. He had a interview after this, which WWE posted up, and he explained that he's always had a good relationship with WWE, and a lot of people may be saying, "Well, now he's on contract." No, I actually firmly believe that. I don't ever think he's.
That's one thing I found quite funny because it's one thing he said in that interview. It's like everyone keeps saying, "Oh, he'll never go, he'll never go, he'll never go." It's like, when did I ever say that?
Yeah. Sting, yeah, and to his degree, he never said that he would never go. It's just that he always thought the time wasn't right or the situation wasn't correct for him. But he's always been on good terms with the company. We never had any stories of Vince being angry that Sting wasn't signing or anything like that. No, it wasn't anything like that. And it's all working out well for the guy at the moment. He's doing well. I think that's the right role for him until maybe they do have some sort of semblance of a plan of what to do with him inside the ring if he wants to wrestle one more match. I think he has one more match left in him, at very least.
I think he's got a few. Yeah.
I think the consensus going around is that it may be Sting against Triple H. And that's a match I wouldn't mind seeing, personally. I think that would be alright.
Couldn't hurt, yeah.
And one good thing about Sting, he's a good talker. You can't take that away from him. And that's one thing that never
he'll
goes
definitely
away.
be able to hold a promo.
Exactly. Talking about that, talking into really good news, I'd like to bring this up. Obviously, Jake Roberts had a cancer scare quite recently, Jake the Snake. He had to go in for an operation in regards to this, and this came at just at the wrong time for the guy, obviously, as he's getting back on track and everything. But he released information this week that he is officially all clear of cancer. Really good news. Awesome for the guy. Cancer is something that's a little bit close to my heart, so I can understand why it's... I imagine it's very hard to think of anyone that hasn't been, or at least remotely had to deal with someone or one of their families or friends that's had to deal with cancer. So, good news that he's all clear. He can carry on with his good work that he's doing. And
definitely. Well, you say good work he's doing. He's not doing much.
He's doing all right. Listen, as long as he could be doing nothing, it's still better than
he
him
could be doing nothing as long as he's not doing heroin.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. He's done really well for himself the last couple of years, and I hope that continues. And it looks like he's I would put Jake down more as a person that would take it more seriously than other people would. You know, he would dedicate himself a lot to that lifestyle, and it seems like he has. So fair play. So good news into funny news, at least for us anyway. Everyone knows here that we're not exactly the biggest fans of Vince Russo. He's back in our WWE news this week. Last week, he was forced to admit on Twitter that he is still involved in some capacity with TNA. He has denied this frivolously all the way through for months and months and months, saying, "I'm not working with TNA. I'm not working with TNA. I'm not working with TNA." And an email, an email was passed through and intercepted, some would say, by PWI journalists, stating it was an email stating from him to Taz and Mike Tenay, giving them pointers on the commentary of the upcoming shows. You know, he tried to.
I forget Taz is still their commentary. So.
Yeah, he's awful. He really is. He's not very good. So he tried to deny it after all this. He had a Twitter meltdown, of what I call it, where basically he was trying to convince people, it's all a swerve, I got you all again, ha ha ha. And then he tried to, in his, in what he would say, bury the journalist that took the thing. And then in the end, he had to admit that he was just lying to everyone and himself, because he is still working with TNA, and he had to admit it. Because the the journalists were threatening to put that email that they received up publicly, and that obviously would have put this guy in the shit, because I don't know if you know about this, Matt. Obviously, you don't cover too much TNA. But you know, TNA is working with Wrestle One, so they've been doing a lot of Japanese stuff. They had Sonada in. Wrestle One, Great Muta, and a lot of Japanese wrestlers and wrestling promotions very strongly dislike Vince Russo because they believe that he's a racist.
Okay.
So
I can still stand with that.
That's the reason why TNA has tried to keep the fact that he's still on contract with them under wraps, because obviously they're working very heavily.
He's not listed as Vince Russo. He's listed as free agent.
Yes. So, yeah, that's the thing there. That he is still working with them, and this is obviously confirming that. And TNA very quickly want this to go under the rug because they don't want their.
It's public now.
Yeah, it's public knowledge.
On Twitter. It's gone on Twitter. Everyone knows now.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, I think Russo's biggest issue, right, the way that he conducted himself.
Vince Russo.
There's a lot of things wrong with Vince Russo. The thing that I think that the way he conducted himself here was just stupid. He tried to ruin the credibility of the journalists that posted this very, very true article up. He tried to he just had like a bit of a Twitter madness, just trying to deny everything, and at the end he looked very silly for doing so. The biggest problem I think of Russo is that he genuinely thinks that he is correct with every single word that he speaks, even if he knows that he's lying.
Yeah.
That's the problem with Russo.
It's that sort of thing. It's like you can tell a lie enough times to think it's true.
Yeah.
And so that's Vince Russo.
Yeah, that's it. He honestly believes that a lot of stuff he comes out with, and some stuff he comes out with is just silly. I saw him on Austin's podcast where he's trying to convince Austin that anyone with a southern accent will never get over as a top star in wrestling, and I just like, what? Really? So you're saying to me that a wrestler with the build of a John Cena, with the look of a Brad Pitt, that can talk like Ric Flair, just because he has a southern accent, isn't going to be a top star? Fuck off. No, that's just stupid. And he knows that. He's just trying to get over something that he said ages ago. And you can tell he's always in defense mode, Russo. And he's got a stigma around him that he's a lying scumbag. Yeah. He has a tendency to book in a really bad way, and I wonder just how many fingers he had dipped into the TNA pockets when he...
Well, I wonder who's actually got the worst stigma of being a lying scumbag, like Heyman or Russo.
Oh, well, I would say Russo, because Heyman, Heyman has a different sort of stigma around him of not paying his wrestlers, but I mean, at very least, he hasn't been in charge of a company for a very, very long time, whereas Russo keeps coming back and booking different things.
Yeah.
He keeps reminding people of the reasons why they dislike him.
I used to run WCW. Yeah, look what happened there.
Yeah. Whenever I hear the guy, he's always in defense mode of the things that he's done in the past. He's always trying to get these really bizarre opinions over and trying to convince people of these really just weird opinions that he has. He just comes across like a really dislikable guy.
Probably okayed Willow.
That's what I mean. It makes me wonder how much was he involved in those really bad 4 weeks of TNA tapings. How much was he involved? It makes me think. It really does, because it smells of Russo booking. It really does, to its very core. You go back and you look at those 4 weeks of horrendous shows. And we did an episode called possibly the worst show in years, and I still stand by that. How much was he involved? I wonder. That's the real question here. Was he really involved? And the scary thing is, if he wasn't involved, then that was just TNA's general creative team coming up with it. But still, interesting stuff. But yeah, he's under contract with TNA Wrestling. That's it. And I wonder what the Great Muta and Wrestle One have to say once if they really have a problem with this, because it could really stop any sort of future involvement with the two companies, because they really dislike Russo, and for good reason. He hasn't exactly booked. We're talking about racism in terms of Japanese wrestlers. Russo has booked Japanese wrestlers horrendously every single time he's in control of that company. So there we are. Interesting news. He's always interesting, Vince Russo, but for all the wrong reasons. Unfortunately.
The only problem is just like Vince Russo, bad stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I just think he needs to stop talking. He needs to listen and start admitting when he's wrong.
No, he just needs to stop.
Yeah,
I don't think it's like he needs to stop talking. He just needs to give up.
Yeah, exactly. So, No TNA review this week, as we said at the start of the show. You're lucky to even get a Raw review out of me this week. Things have been so busy in the house. We were talking of that as well. I mean, I've been waiting for months to get work done in this house for a very long time, and it's only just happened. So don't expect this to be a regular occurrence. It will be reviewed regularly, but just not this week. There we are. Let's get on to our Raw review, unless you have any more exciting news to talk to us. It wasn't a very good week for news.
It's been very quiet this week, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you've sort of, other than sort of Comic-Con, Brian going Batman, I think that's pretty much it.
Yes, that's it. The Dark Knight, the Bearded Knight, some would say.
That's it.
There we are. I'm sure Mick Foley could write up a comic of that or something. Just to
sort of goes with the whole Fear the Beard sort of
Fear
thing.
the Beard, that's it, yeah. I like it. Let's talk about our Raw review then. We'll get straight into that. As we know, this is the show just after Battleground, the first lead-up show to SummerSlam, the second biggest show on the WWE calendar. And they still book it like that, at very least, and they're giving us a big marquee match at very least for that. So
already, yeah.
We'll talk about that when we get to there. But so Raw this week is from Miami, Florida, the showcase of WrestleMania 28, and The Rock's stomping ground. So I thought it's obviously he's in huge. The Rock is actually doing a lot of media appearances for Hercules, the new movie coming out. You can see him all over
That's
TV,
right, yeah.
Doing all that sort of stuff. So obviously he wasn't at the show, but yeah, still his old stomping ground. And obviously Flo Rida was around this week. We'll have our thoughts on Mr. Ryder. And obviously Mr. Ryder. Two Mr. Ryders on this show.
Yeah.
There we are, exactly.
Good rider and a bad rider.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, one thing we haven't had in a little while, and I guess Triple H should realise that, is the Authority opening up the show. So he opened up the show this week.
Yep.
2 weeks without the Authority being prominent at the start of the show is far too long for Triple H, of course. He says that he's mad over Cena's victory, and what he throws what I like to call a social media smackdown. Sounds like a lot of things that WWE come out with, but
Yeah.
he says he trolls the fans, that he's going to tweet his displeasure, and saying that him and
his friend Mark.
yeah, we'll stop watching the show. I liked it. I like Troll H. I really do like Troll H. When he decides
Triple Troll's amazing.
Triple Troll, that's it. I think that's a better word for it. When he decides to put that troll face on, he can be quite funny, and he was here. He didn't get that much of a response though. The crowd was pretty dead. They didn't really understand, but I did at the very least.
Yeah, that's it.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of Eric Bischoff did he tried to reference Arn Anderson's stabbing in a reference in WCW like years ago, and like he did the same joke twice because he thought people couldn't hear him, but it's just that people didn't know what they were talking about. So
yeah, it's like sort of double telling the punchline just doesn't make it funnier.
Yeah. Like then the people that were just laughing out of sort of because it was polite just don't even laugh the second time. It's just even worse. So anyway. He guarantees to us that Cena will not be champion after SummerSlam. He guarantees it. Guarantees it, he says. And all I can think of is The Rock whenever he says that.
Yeah.
This brings out Randy Orton. Orton says that he deserves a one-on-one title rematch. He actually does. You know, actually look back on it. He hasn't had a one-on-one title match for his rematch. He's had a lot of other title matches, but not the one-on-one title match. So, fair enough. Triple H demands that the wrestlers to impress him. For a shot at the title, and this brings out Kane. This segment, by the way, is getting very shit as soon as Orton comes out.
It got very old.
It got very old very quick. Kane didn't make things any better. He just says that he can win the belts if he's not babysitting Orton. So obviously they're building towards a Kane Orton match at SummerSlam, which is okay, awesome.
Are you sure about that?
Match. I don't know. It looks like that's what they're building towards.
I don't think so. I think it'd be right. Orton Reigns.
I think it'd be Reigns Triple H. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. They might be going that way, or maybe they'll do the handicap match again. I'm not sure, but we'll see. But yeah, as we said, the crowd are dead. They really don't give a shit. And Reigns decides that he's going to come in, and the crowd start getting into it a lot more. But man, the crowd there was no one making any sort of noise during the segment before Reigns came in. He talks some sense, at least, Reigns. He says that no one wants to see Cena versus Orton and no one wants to see Cena versus Kane. He's absolutely right. No one wants to see that.
We had too much of Orton Orton Cena.
Yeah, exactly. We defended them this time last year, actually, when they had the match at TLC. Not this time last year, obviously, a few months down the line, but still, to unify the belts. And yeah, it's fine having a match every now and then, but they have to be really careful when they book Cena and Orton one-on-one matches. They really do. But yeah, Cena versus Kane. We've seen that. We've been there. don't want any part of it. He attacks Kane afterwards. He gives him the Superman punch. Triple H says that he's going to book a handicap match with Reigns and going against Kane and Orton. Which we could see what was happening there as soon as Kane and Orton were put in a team, but we'll get into that. But yeah, this segment was pretty poor. It really was. I wasn't that much into it. The crowd weren't that into it, and it's a little bit redundant, really, considering all things considered at the end of the show, who actually gets that title match. But still, the crowd went into it, even if they didn't know who was coming on that day. We know that Mr. Lesnar was going to be around, so couldn't get into it. Just very poor start to the show.
Just care? Not really.
Yeah. So into that, they move straight into that handicap match. Now, a debate rages on commentary during this match, by the way, whether Triple H would actually name Reigns as the number one contender if he wins the match. They're saying that, of course, he's not going to name him. And this thing I actually have to back JBL up on. Often they all talk a lot of shit, but Triple H has already put him in 2 title matches, so I don't think it's actually be much of an issue. You know what I mean? Like, their argument is a bit void. You know, the fact
it's like, would he put him in a title match? What, you mean like that fatal 4-way last night?
Like the ladder match I thought that he was in also, the month before. Yeah, he's had a lot of title matches, Reigns. Maybe not one-on-one ones, but still. Reigns here gets the win. Like I said, we can see where this is going. Orton refuses to tag Kane. This leads Reigns to spear Kane, get the pinfall. And I don't know what was going through Orton's head, especially as in storyline he's trying to impress Triple H.
And then he ran off like a girl.
Yeah, but then, not even breaking up the pin or trying to beat him. Very, very impressive still. Yeah, as you said there, you obviously think that it's going to be Reigns against Orton. I honestly think that Orton will face Kane. I honestly think that's the match that's going.
Okay.
But if that is the case,
I don't by what I'd rather see. I don't want to see Kane in a match anymore. Kane's gotten very old for me recently.
Yeah. You can't book him in like Orton versus Kane is not a match that anyone wants to see. That's the problem. And I hope that they don't book that for the event. They if you remember, these guys have already had a WrestleMania match, Kane and Orton. I think anyway. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have.
Cool.
But it's still not a match that I'm really interested in seeing. So we'll have a look on that anyway. This whole show was built around who's going to be the number one contender. And it was neither of these men at the end of the show. Thank God, to be honest.
Sure.
There's a backstage segment after this with Stephanie McMahon and the heel divas Cameron, Eva Marie, Alicia Fox, and Rosa Mendez.
Oh, yeah, this bit.
The team of which I'm dubbing the Nightmare Team. Not the Dream Team, the Nightmare Team. You can't get much worse of a team in terms of wrestling skill than these 4 women next to each other. Alicia Fox may be a little bit better, but still the rest of them pretty awful.
A little bit better, but still not good.
Yeah, exactly. Just a wonderful collection of crappy diva wrestlers. That's it. She tells them to decimate Nikki Bella. If I were Nikki, I wouldn't be too worried because she hasn't exactly been destroyed in recent weeks. That...
But that's a story with her and Cena.
Oh, there we go. Nice humour from LTW. You can expect that from us. That's our speciality. So that obviously leads into the match. So you got Nikki Bella in a 4-on-1 match. But as you know, with matches that involve total diva participants, it's not really about the match that actually matters, and that's quite short.
The story that goes along with it.
That's it. Brie Bella is in the front row. Her first appearance since being
Since she quit.
Kayfabe quit from the company. What I really enjoyed more than this segment was the fan beside her going absolutely ballistic. Didn't even notice that she was there, and obviously with all the stuff going on, he just lost his shit. And I thought that was pretty. No.
It's the fan that was it the same guy who completely lost his shit when Brie called Steph a bitch?
Yeah.
Because there was like a proper
I just expected a shit, son. It's just coming out. But so like just to go into what actually happened in this segment, but Steph comes out and she cuts the usual promo on Brie. I'm not going to state what she said because it's the usual stuff. If you've seen what she said before, it's exactly what she says now, just to her face this time.
That's your sister's fault, blah blah blah.
That's it. As you said, Brie calls her a bitch, and she calls her a bitch twice, funny enough. She calls her a bitch to get her attention.
You know, the weirdest thing is, I think they actually edited out one of the bitches, but they said bitch quite a lot.
She said bitch once, and they blanked it out. But the second time on the mic when she said it, she
They let it slide.
They let it slide because obviously bitch is their word that they like to use now. PG swear word, bitch, apparently. Which is funny. I remember bitch being quite a dirty word back in like 10 years ago, but still.
It's really odd, actually, with the sort of like what's deemed acceptable on a PG swear. Because over here, we noticed this yesterday that there was a song in which they said the word slag. And it's
really?
like 2 in the afternoon. Is that a watershed word?
I don't know.
Slag, calling someone a slag.
I can guarantee you that, like I said, 10 years. This is going to make me so laugh, but 10 years ago, that wouldn't have been on TV at that time. It was a taboo word. But
I know.
Desensitization, I guess, is probably the word. Isn't it?
10 years down the line, we'll just have fuck everywhere.
Exactly. There we are. Now, I have to give props. We've said before, Nikki Bella, not good on the mic. She isn't. This time, I have to give her props. I have to give her thumbs up. She was okay.
Brie Bella.
Brie Bella, yeah. I thought she was okay. Not brilliant, but okay. She did her promo to a relative degree. It got a reaction, and that was fine. But I guess that's what happens when you have over a month to practice said promo.
Yeah. Guess where she's been? Acting classes.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully. I'm not saying that Brie Bella, that she's got potential. She actually does, but she just, if she's using this timeout, I'd send her off to like I said, somewhere like an acting class or like a public speaking stuff, just to get over what she could do. I think there's stuff there she just doesn't know how to use it. I think that's the issue with her. But this was okay. It was all right. We give her props where it's due, and this was okay. So the match itself, the decimation of Nikki Bella, destruction, never actually really occurred. She just kind of gets slammed and pinned, and then they kind of kick her out the ring.
Kicks, and that's about it.
Yeah, that's it. We've said before, if you're really going to get this over, then you need to make it a really convincing beating, and they've never done that. Nikki Bella is just getting beaten every now and then. Unfortunately, she got beaten enough that her nipple decided to come out of her top, and this was all over the news, so to speak.
I did spot this.
Yeah. You did not spot the nip slip.
I did spot it.
You did spot it. It was a little bit more blatant than I hope that she would want anyway. And they cut away from it pretty quickly once they realised. Some were saying that considering that she's with John Cena, her nipple kicked out too.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a shame for her, but she's been coming out with these tops that are very low down. That have just been pushing her boobs up quite a lot. It was only a matter of time, really, considering what she wears.
It's almost like she's still wearing them. It's like, don't forget, Nikki, you did have a boob job. You can't go with your same old wardrobe.
Yeah.
Oh.
You look at some of the stuff that the more wrestling inclined divas wear, like Paige, Emma. They wear stuff that holds all their bits in, so to speak.
Keeps it together.
So they don't have to worry about this. But the other ones, they normally just try and show as much as they can, and this will happen if that's the case. I hope that they learn their lesson. But still, a shame. You don't like it to happen. I'm not saying it's her fault, but it was going to happen sooner or later, really. That's the only issue with that. Tape can only do so much, shall we say.
Yeah.
Moving forward, anyway, from that abomination of a match. Good segment, though. The crowd are really hot into that. And, I missed a complete thing.
It scored Brie Bella a slap.
Exactly, yeah. I kind of missed a big, poignant story element of that.
Probably the biggest part of that section.
Yeah. Steph gives her a slap when she's a paying customer of the crowd. That comes to prevalence later on. And in the segment, I think was actually really well done, I have to say. I'm not a big fan of this rivalry between Brie Bella and Steph, but this week it was alright. I really did enjoy it.
This week, dude, it's been like a month since we last saw it.
Yeah, but Steph
I guess you, unless you include the fact that Nikki was getting her ass kicked because of her sister.
Yeah, that's it. I still expect a heel turn eventually where Nikki Bella just loses her shit, but still.
Yeah, sort of goes with the whole, this was all your fault, by the way.
Yeah. I would point the finger at her boyfriend, considering he's never been there to actually help her out,
Yeah.
Still.
Surely, I'm pretty sure John Cena's got a couple of strings backstage.
Yeah, come on. He's the 15-time champ. Stop, and come out and help your women.
Even if he wasn't champ, he's John Cena.
Yeah, exactly. As we know, though, John Cena as a character does not come down to help anyone. Or Dean Ambrose is getting the shit.
And John Cena as a person doesn't put anyone over.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if he is their girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly. Bo Dallas 1-on-1 against Damian Sandow. Odd match, I have to say here. Two heels against each other. But I did remind myself that Bo Dallas is still running the gimmick of the false face, and sometimes you do have to go him up against heels. It just makes sense. So Sandow comes out dressed as LeBron James. He's the thing is here, obviously he's missing a major skin pigmentation issue, severely breaks the immersion.
Like, you ain't Blick.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe he's got game. Maybe White Man got game, but he certainly ain't no LeBron James, shall we say. He had, obviously, for people that don't know, LeBron James recently transferred out of the Miami Heat to Cleveland.
Hasn't, Sandow already dressed up as LeBron James?
Yes, but he hadn't transferred at that point. So he transferred. He dressed up like LeBron James, I think, somewhere like
Against
Dallas
Big
or
Show?
something. Yeah, where like LeBron recently beat their team as part of the Heat or something. It was. It makes me realise just how long this gimmick has been going on with him. It's quite sad.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So yeah, Bo, he wasn't exactly acting like a face. He was just acting like him. And like I said, it's a bit of an odd match to book. And he's not going face. He is staying as he is. But this match was a nothing match. It kind of topped off that the start of this match was pretty fucking painful. It really was.
Yeah. Bo Dallas is a weird one, though.
Yeah. You got to keep him going. He's 16 and Bo now. He gets the win here.
I thought it was 18 and Bo.
No, he said 16 and Bo on the outside.
Then I heard it. Yeah, JBL always gets things wrong.
Yeah, he does.
I'm sure JBL said 18.
Yeah, I go with Bo's thing. Maybe I got it wrong, but I don't know. But the thing is about this match, there was no extra Bo segment. There's no talking from Bo. There was a little bit from Sandow, but it's just the usual stuff. So it's just a throwaway match. Nothing really interesting with these guys.
That's it.
So
there's one thing I've sort of that got drawn to my attention with sort of like Bo Dallas, because he's got that crazy sort of jumping around. Oh my god, I'm so happy energy. He's like a virgin. That kind of makes sense. Like, I did it! Yeah! so overexcited.
Yeah. Well, maybe he needs Summer Rae and Layla to pay him a visit. Maybe he'll calm down a little bit. Maybe.
I was going to say, it got bad enough with those two and Ryder.
Yes, we'll get into that very soon. A good week for Ryder. I don't ever think I've ever said that before on this podcast. A good week for Ryder.
That's true.
Jesus, right. So, the first segment of the show that is genuinely interesting, funny enough, it actually came on the hour mark, so quite funny. The first hour mark. The highlight reel. Obviously, Chris Jericho's show. We haven't had that since for a long time, really. The Wyatts are the supposed guests. They come out without Jericho. If you had the app, or apparently for their so-called exclusive content, you could watch Chris Jericho getting beaten up by the Wyatt family. I laugh because they're trying to plug the app as showing you exclusive content, and then they just replay it on the show anyway. Really stupid.
Yeah, it's like you could have seen it,
but we're going to show you.
Here's
anyway.
what you missed.
Yeah. So I actually I'd look here. The lights when they come out. They've started it now on the Titantron. They've done this the last couple of weeks where they blank out the Titantron and they pretty much like put like a picture of lights up to simulate as if the whole arena's doing it, and it's not a big Titantron of nothing. So I quite like that. But the lights here on this show were mental, and it just makes me think that how good is it going to be at Mania next year if they do this again?
Oh, do you know, the thing is though, apparently I think I've heard somewhere that WWE is sort of going to be using some sort of way of sort of signalling that it's the Wyatt entrance, so that everyone's sort of got their phones ready, sort of thing.
Oh, I see. Okay. And
I think that backing light might be might be a way to go.
Yeah, could be it. They've got a long entrance anyway, so they always get a good visual of it. It's not too much of an issue, really. They're just trying to capitalize.
And to be perfectly honest, they've got long enough whilst the camera's still panned on the Wyatts for everyone to go, quick!
Yeah, that's it, yeah. And by the time they're in the ring, Jesus, like I said, this week, I say this almost every week, wow, it's so cool, but I mean, it gets better every week. That's the kind of cool thing. And the place was lit up. Like a starry night sky. Very, very cool.
They could have wrestled a match with the amount of lights in that place.
Yeah, they could have, very easily. And it still would have been better than the bloody tints that they use for Sin Cara's shit, but still. So, as we said there, Jericho was attacked by Wyatt. Quite a cool little Sister Abigail that gets done on him on the back, actually, and Jericho sold it like a champ. Straight
into the wall,
yeah. It's almost he got shot in the head. He sold it like that, just flopped to the ground. Good stuff. The promo here is brilliant stuff. We said last week with the boring chants. If you say boring to this guy, I abdicate for WWE just to send out Orton and let him have the promo time. Just so you get punished for your boring chants. But no such chants this week. That's fine. He says that Abigail had told him that with vengeance you must dig 2 graves, one for your enemy and one for yourself. And quite a cool little line at the end where he says, he says that that is, while that still is the case, Bray is forever. it's eternal or something along those
Yeah,
lines.
it's like, I can dig a second grave, but I won't need it.
Yeah, exactly. Great line to end a great promo. Good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh.
I can't explain. I can say a lot of the stuff that happens in the likes of Triple H's promos and Daniel Bryan's promos and Cena's promos because they're very formulaic. It's very hard for me to explain just what is said in a Bray Wyatt promo, but all of it is good, and it's one of the exciting
I
parts.
was actually sort of talking about Wyatt. I did see recently, it was on No DQ, where they posted up a sort of like a quick little interview with the $1 Million Man. And he was basically saying, like, I was asked to come back in '06, and they said sort of, so what do you think? And he was just like, everyone's the same.
Yeah.
But now you got like people like Bray Wyatt who are completely just like out of your ordinary.
Yeah.
So you got the $1 Million Man who was like, we had a guy with a snake, we had this and we had that, and like, you know, we had like Tatanka who thought he was a Native American and all things like that.
Yeah. Everyone was different, but now you've got Randy Orton, who could be any. He's just basically a blank slate. You've got, and you put him next to someone else, and it just looks like the same. I know what you mean. It's a little bit better now, though. I would say because, as we say, they've got a lot more wacky characters now. That's just to say, Bray's not wacky. He's more obviously he's horror inspired, but you got like some Stardust, Goldust. I think
Stardust is starting to get a bit horror inspired, to be fair.
Jesus, yeah. I'm not going to be saying too many good things about them this week either, as I said last week, but still. But yeah, I think that statement isn't relevant to today. I think today's a lot better now in terms of gimmicks and stuff. Then, as you say, 2006, that's probably in a year of legacy and Randy Orton. They all look the same, you know. So it's just boring, but yeah. So now we have going on from that, we have Miz against Ziggler. The Miz is looking more and more like Johnny Cage every day. I think that's what to say. A shame now he isn't nearly as interesting, or performance fatalities and stuff. That'd be interesting.
Sort of does a leg split and just dick punches.
Yeah, exactly. He needs to put that in his repertoire. I'd get a lot more behind him if he were to do that. Or summon green mist from the nether and throw it at his enemies. Maybe that's asking a bit too much. Maybe you could just throw Tajiri at his enemies, with the green mist. I don't know.
Yeah, true.
Although I have to say, every single time I hear Ziggler's music, I wish he still had a Money in the Bank briefcase. I just want this guy to. I want the madness of he's gonna cash in. He's gonna cash in. It's just not the same with any other wrestler but the Ziggler. I have to say that it's.
I just wish Ziggler would actually come out and sort of like, it's Ziggler. It's a creditable wrestler.
Yeah, that's it. That being said, it was a better week for Ziggler here than most. There was
a good match.
This match was good. There are a few issues with it though that I have to state. It was a good match. I don't want that to be put aside, and it was one of the better matches of the night. In fact, I was happy for a match of this quality considering how poor the show had been up to at that point. But there was a big botch here where Ziggler went to do the baseball kick to Miz on the outside, missed him completely, but Miz sold it as if he was hit with a jackhammer and flies against the side, but you missed the
kick
yeah. There were a lot of moves that barely connected because they were going just a little bit too fast, but I'll take that. The match was okay, and that was all right. And obviously Ziggler and Miz haven't wrestled each other in a while, so still a bit rusty. I'd put this down more to Miz than Ziggler, to be honest, but still, it's okay. I give him a pass this week because the match was good. At the end of the match, Miz is too afraid for his moneymaker getting hit. Moneymaker. I have to say, I have to give WWE a pass. As I say, they did not say moneymaker nearly as much as they did the week before. I was so happy that I did not have to hear that word over and over again. It was referenced, but it wasn't overdone, so that's fine. But anyway, he gets scared of his moneymaker getting hit. Ziggler hits the zigzag for the win. The crowd are uber into this match, and they're always into Ziggler. I just don't know why they don't put more stock.
The fact that Ziggler got the win, that was the one thing that sort of shocked me.
Yeah, very shocking. He got the win, and I honestly thought that Miz would, because the amount of times they use Ziggler as Job Ziggler, some would say. But still. Yeah, good stuff from these guys. I don't think this is going to lead up into any sort of rivalry. I firmly believe that Sheamus and The Miz will fight each other. That's how I think it will go. But still, good stuff. And hell, we needed a match of good quality because the show, in terms of matches, was fucking ridiculous at that point. Backstage, Triple H is saying to Rollins he doesn't need to face Cena at SummerSlam. Then Cesaro comes in. Says that he should face Cena, which is the buzzword of the week, that I should face Cena, but still.
That's it.
At least a lot of people gunning for the title. I can't say that. I dislike that because I like it. It's good. I like having a lot of people gunning for the belt.
People should be gunning for the titles.
Yeah. Remember, like, back a few years ago where you only have about 2 or 3 people that were genuinely stating on microphones that I want to be the world champion? It seems a lot more people want to do that now, and that's always good. But he says, he drops the bombshell. He is no longer a Paul Heyman guy. He wants to be a Triple H guy. I long for the day Cesaro becomes a Cesaro guy. I really do. Just goes on his own. And
the day Cesaro doesn't need other guys.
Yeah, he doesn't need anyone. He's good enough on the mic. He doesn't actually need anyone. And the last 6 months experiment of him being with Heyman has been an absolute waste. It's been a waste of time. It really has. And man, they need to turn Cesaro back into that Superman that was shocking everyone with all these awesome moves. Just turn him face already.
Bring back the swing.
Yeah, bring back the swing. Make him face, get all these moves back in his repertoire, start giving him match of the weeks again at that time, and start pushing this guy as he should be, because otherwise you'll miss your chance. And they wouldn't have fired the gun, when they needed to. But Triple H tells him, if you deal with our thorn in the side, Dean Ambrose, then I'll consider you for the match. Cesaro seems happy with that, and they have a match later on, the main event nonetheless of the show. So
it was the main event, yeah.
It was the main event. Paige and AJ against Natalya and Emma. We talked about the Nightmare Dream Team. These 4 people are the 4 people that we stated
to be the Dream Team.
If you go back and watch episode 2, we're going back months now. We named 4 divas that you should pinpoint as the future of your division. Well, the ones that we said Paige, AJ, Natalya, and Emma. They're all in this match. So good stuff. And this match was all right. It was. It's just night and day when you look at the quality of the match earlier on in the night, the 4-on-1 Divas match, because these 4 can actually wrestle. I saw chain wrestling between Paige and Emma at the start of this show. I thought, Jesus,
that's it. Awesome. It's just like what?
Yes,
it's like reversals and stuff.
Yeah, close pinfalls and everything. It wasn't a long match by any means. It didn't go on for ages and ages and ages, but it was still good. It was all right. Emma's fresh, obviously, from her embarrassing shoplifting debacle. At least she's back on TV. As long as she's putting matches like these, it should be fine. I don't see them making her prevalent for a very long time, but she'll be putting matches like these, and it's fine. And she was okay. She was good.
That's it.
So one notice I did state here. Man, Natalya decided that if she's going to be in a ring full of genuine female wrestlers, she was going to pull out one hell of a German suplex. Jesus Christ, I did not know she had such a German suplex in her arsenal.
It's a proper dirty one, isn't it?
She slammed the shit out of Paige, and it looked awesome. Good stuff. AJ tags in, though, and gets the Shining Wizard on Natalya, and then use the Black Widow to get the tap-out victory. Yeah. I like the fact she's added Shining Wizard to her armory. I like that. 2 decent finishes for AJ.
Yeah, it's been too long since we've seen a Shining Wizard.
Yes, good stuff. Now, we said before that if the Paige heel turn wasn't going to happen at the pay-per-view, which it didn't happen, it would happen here. We love when we're right. We really do. I'm not afraid of stating that. It's finally here. It's one thing I will say during this heel turn. So basically, she attacks AJ after the match, after they celebrate. Being a heel just looks so much more natural to her. It looked like when she was a face, it looked a little bit awkward, but man, she looked to relish being a heel here. And I would put a message to all the Total Divas at the start of the show when they're apparently supposed to decimate Nikki Bella. Take a look at the beatdown that Paige gave AJ here and some sort of semblance of what you should have done.
Oh yeah, it's like proper against the barrier, into the ring post, stuff that you genuinely see as an attack.
Yes, I mean she
not was just kick her.
Yeah, just kick her and roll out the ring. This was an attack, and she was thrown all around the outside of the ring. The Total Divas crew should ask themselves, how could AJ and Paige in one segment do what they haven't been able to do since the Nikki Bella beatdowns? And I would say, instead of getting pissy, watch and learn, get better. That's what I would say. Because they did a better Paige did a better beatdown of AJ here. AJ sold it better than what they've done for Nikki Bella for weeks. We've been saying that if you really need to get that over as a storyline, you need to decimate her. This is how you do it. You don't have to do it too much. This wasn't, like I said, a huge destruction of AJ, but she was beating the hell out of. She was sucker punched.
I think for Diva on Diva, this was more than we've seen.
More than I'd be happy with. That's what I'd say. It's fine. It's really good. And this is going to lead to another title match, I believe. Maybe a title match, or maybe Paige.
Do you know one thing I really loved about this section, though? Is It's like you also, because we said like she got thrown against a barrier and into the post, she got like thrown over the announce table as well, which you don't really see so much. But there's that bit that where Paige was shouting, and then suddenly all I heard was this little kid just like, "Use your inside voice." I was like,
I did catch that as well. I was
like, "Oh, that's gold."
It reminds me of Chris Jericho. I'm from Winnipeg, you idiot. I just love that. But Paige was screaming, "This is my house. This is my house." Good stuff, really good stuff. Really looking forward to what they can do now. It just seems like they've, like, with this heel turn, it's just taken all the straps off Paige, and now she can just run wild with it. Why not?
That's it. And now it's like, now we can give you the Paige that you expected.
Yes, this is it. This is perfect. And as we said, a lot of people say, "Oh, they should have a rematch and then Paige wins legit against AJ. That would cement her. That would do well." Actually, no. Giving her the belt back doesn't do anything for her. A heel turn like this, though, that does a lot for her. That does more than a title win ever could. In fact, this one segment did more for Paige in terms of her future than her 3-month title reign. I would say that categorically. Talking of Mr. Zack Ryder earlier on the show, this was one hell of a night for Zack Ryder. I think he should retire, personally. You don't get much better than this. He decides that he's not going to job anymore. But anyway, just so at the start of this match, anyway, Fandango comes out. He is Ryder's opponent. He says that apparently on commentary, according to commentary, that he's a sure thing for Triple H to name him as the #1 contender. I think that I'm pretty sure that Damien Sandow's mental anguish has been leaking through to other wrestlers backstage, and Fandango's just been too close in the vicinity. The idea that he would ever be put in a match like that, but still, it's kind of the opposite. Where he's saying he's a sure thing to be #1 contender. You don't get much lower on the ladder than jobbing for Zack Ryder, and that's exactly what he did here.
Are you gonna have the title? Is that Zack Ryder? Oh, and I lost.
Yeah.
Oh.
At least Zack Ryder's had a match for the title for the WWE Championship against Sheamus, so there we are. He's been #1 contender once at the very least.
True.
There was actually a YouTube video of someone reenacting his title match on a video game, except with him winning, and they do all the JR commentary. It's actually quite funny, because like instead of Sheamus just bro kicking him and winning, it's like Ryder hits the Rough Rider, wins the belt. It's just funny, just to look back on. It's just
good stuff.
In an alternate universe somewhere, Ryder is WWE champion. Odd. Anyway, so he comes out. He doesn't even get a full entrance music because Summer Rae and Layla come out to Fandango's music. But they're carrying their man Ryder to the ring, and he jobs for a jobber. There you go. That's it. He gets his foot on the rope after a rough Rider, but Layla knocks it off. You're gonna see this happening a lot of where Fandango's.
Just one thing I was like, oh, that was really close, because he sort of just like they both sort of gave him a kiss on the cheek, and then he sort of like stepped back and it's like, oh, they're gonna kiss. Oh no, easy. Get my mind out the gutter. Oh
yeah, that's it. That's what you want to see so badly, Matt. We understand. And every other guy out there is, I don't think they'll disagree too much with you. There you are. So as you said, Ryder proceeds to get kissed probably more than any televised wins that he's probably had in the last few years.
What do you mean? The fact that he came out red, I saw like a backstage interview and he was pretty much red faced.
Yeah. Here's a stat for you. It's his first win on Raw since 2012.
Since what?
Since 2012. His first win on Raw.
Wow.
2 years in the making, this
he
victory.
Was massive.
Yeah, that's it. In fact, a statement was made by Mick Foley where he talked about how Zack Ryder reached up and got the famous brass ring that Vince McMahon's talking about, and then he was asked to hand it back in a way, that he made his own foot in the door, and then it didn't matter. And WWE always go by this statement of wrestlers need to make their own foot in the door. They need to make their own push. Ryder did that, and then he was punished for it. And I think that's
I did see
that. So yeah, as we said, his first win since 2012. Like I said, I just think Ryder should retire. I don't see him having any more big moments like this in his future. I honestly do believe that. Leaving with 2 beautiful women and a victory on Raw. Just retire, dude. That's fine. That's the best you're ever going to get.
No one will judge you.
Yeah. Renee Young is backstage with Flo Rida. What's quite funny over here is that my wife knows someone that honestly thought his name was Florida. Quite funny.
It's Florida.
It's Flo Rida.
It's Florida.
Okay, it's Florida. Mr. Florida. He says something laughable here that he's going to talk to Triple H and see if he can face Cena at SummerSlam. There's a match I wouldn't want to see.
I skipped that bit.
Uh, considering Cena's been pinned by Kevin Federline before, that's quite funny, but still.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Heath Slater decides he's going to be Batman and save this segment, and he pushes Mr. Ryder only to get a pushback. Pointless. Stupid. He just gets pushed over by Ryder. I hate it when they get these celebrities in and make it so they're superstars. Why should we give a shit about Heath Slater now, considering a guy who's never wrestled in his life can just knock him over?
Push him over.
Yeah, stupid. It makes sense when a guy like Shaquille O'Neal comes out, because that guy is like 7 foot fucking tall. I mean, yeah, Flo Rida is a bit, he's not exactly in bad shape, but still, I just don't like it when they do that still. It's like when they made David Arquette champion in WCW, just kind of like, what? You've got this actor as a champion.
That was a result of a very good film. Actually, even though people slate that as probably one of the worst films ever, I loved it.
We love it because it's our nostalgia that brings it back to us. I'm sure if we were to watch it now, we would be like, oh, that's really stupid. But now, I love that movie. I do. And I'm not,
still love it.
I'm not ashamed to say it, because we watched it as kids and we thought it was awesome, just wrestling to be looked at in such a manner. But still, just for the reference and talking about that David Arquette win, that was a Russo booking. There you go. There we are.
Yeah.
And he did not want to be champion. David Arquette, to this day, he gets a lot of shit for being champion. He never wanted to be. He actually said he didn't want to do it because he respected the belt. He respected it. He was a huge wrestling fan. And instead they talked him into doing it, and I know he regrets it now. Poor Arquette. I do have some sort of semblance of regret for the guy, because obviously you were put in a situation he didn't want to be in. Russo booking 101. There you go. Let's make a celebrity our champion. Why not? So this leads anyway to a Flo Rida performance. We said this was excellent, awesome performance. I needed a piss break, even though that I went for my piss break, and then when I came back it was still on, so I had to go and just do something else while it was still on. And
go back. It's like, maybe I need to piss again.
Yeah. It was a very lengthy performance. I can't say whether it was good or not. I just had no interest in seeing it, so I didn't. There you go.
I skipped it.
And for what I know of, it did go on for a while. He performed a few songs.
Really?
Yeah, a few songs. Now, my wife...
I don't know. I sort of just like, he's still on my TV. Keep fast forwarding.
Yeah. My wife is a fan of music like this, and even she didn't want to watch it. Why would she want to watch this when she can go onto YouTube or go onto a music channel and watch his shit there? She watches a wrestling show to watch wrestling. There you go. That's it. Just stupid. I don't like it. But anyway, after the performance, Stephanie McMahon, obviously she's still out there because she introduced Flo Rida out. She is confronted by 2 police officers. Probably one of the best segments of the night, this one.
She's now a criminal.
She is a criminal. They explain that Brie Bella is charging her for battery, for assault. The crowds during this, they realised pretty quickly what's going on, which I thought was weird, because there was no mics put on them or anything. They must obviously put it up on the Titantron what was going on, because otherwise the crowd wouldn't realise what's going on. But they get the cuffs out, they cuff her up like a common criminal, and Brie Bella's there as well. She's enjoying a front row seat to it. Steph loses her shit. She says that she's going to take the officers' badges. Backstage, she starts crying, saying she doesn't want to go to jail, or she doesn't want to go to prison. The segment is a lot better than I'm stating now. It was a good. The crowd was so into this. They would love.
Oh yeah, we got the whole na 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 song out of it as well.
Good stuff. And like I said, like Triple H is doing his best to associate her. He's like, oh, this is a career decision you're doing, taking her out. They posted up a story stating that she stayed overnight in the thing. You're obviously going to have a segment on Raw about that. But they're quite right, to be honest. In storyline, this at the very least makes sense. You could do whatever you want when you're a WWE wrestler and you're in the ring, you're doing stuff in there. That's all been fine. But she was not with the company in kayfabe, and she had a ticket. It kind of makes sense.
She attacked a member of the crowd.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought that was pretty good. Good segment, like I said, and the crowd were really into it. And so I the way I see this going, funny enough, I do reckon that Nikki Bella will go heel, and she'll probably be work for Stephanie McMahon to that's how I see things playing out. It might go differently, but we'll see. But yeah, good stuff. Another segment here with Triple H explains. So basically, they're backstage, and he's trying to get ready. He's getting ready to leave to go to, obviously, bail out his wife from prison. He explains that family comes first. He gets ready to leave. Joey Mercury is back there.
I was wondering what happened to Joey Mercury.
Yeah, he actually works very closely with the Shield, funny enough, as an agent. So a lot of the success, they actually called him the 4th member of the Shield. I did an article on him stating that. So always good stuff. But yeah, he's working as an agent now. He says that he changes his mind though after Mr. Mercury reminds him that there's still a show on. He still needs to name the number one contender. He's guaranteed that Cena won't walk out of SummerSlam the champion. So he changes his mind and says that
Suddenly he's like, well, she'll have to get processed, won't she? He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
The prince, and it's like, that could take time.
Yeah.
I'll stay.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Because you know what? That's best for business.
That's it.
That's how
the show must go on.
Exactly. Hell, I don't like to. In fact, I'm not going to. I'm not going to go there. Sorry. I was going to go a bit more morbid, but no, I'm rather not.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Someone will probably realise what I was about to say, but I've stopped myself. But still. Rybacksel, with Big E and Kofi Kingston having a tag team match. As soon as Rybacksel came out, I hope to God that it wasn't Stardust and Goldust. I want to see these two in the ring, just not near Rybacksel. Really don't want to see them.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think a single word from commentary was uttered about this match, at very least at the first half of it. It was all about what happened to Stephanie McMahon. I hate when commentary do this. What's the point of having a match, really?
What's the point of having commentary?
Yeah. If you're just going to keep just stupid. I understand it's a big story segment, you need to talk about it, but to talk about it in that much... I mean, they were just repeating themselves over and over. That's all they were doing. I have an argument between JBL and the other two about who was right about what happened. Why not talk about the contest in the ring, guys? Come on. I praised the commentary at the pay-per-view because their first match, they spoke about nothing but the match, and it was really good commentary, but this is the issue with it, when they decided they're going...
And then we get back on Raw, they've fallen back into their old ways.
That's it. So Ryback actually gets the win here. It's a quick match, it doesn't last very long. Of what there is of the match, as we said, commentary didn't really care. They were just talking about stuff that happened before. Then afterwards, Xavier Woods comes out. He's in a very snazzy suit. He says that they all can't...
I think it must have been borrowed from the wardrobe of Teddy Long.
That's what I was thinking, actually, funny enough. You may as well just said holla holla and just came out with it, Ironic enough that this was a tag team match that they came out of. Anyway, he says that him, Big E and Kofi Kingston, they can't get what they want by kissing babies and playing by the rules. Now they're going to take what they want. This teases, as we said, the Nation 2.0, Nation of Domination.
Yeah. Nation of Domination.
I don't think they will call themselves the Nation of Domination, but this is roughly the kind of thing they're going for. The segment itself wasn't hot. The actual statement of Xavier Woods wasn't hot. It was really oddly placed. He just kind of came out of nowhere. It was a bit odd. But at least they're doing something with these three guys. I mean, Xavier Woods has had nothing done with him. Kofi Kingston's had nothing done with him. Big E's had nothing done with him since he lost the belt. It's something for these guys at the very least. And I think at the very least Xavier Woods can be the mouthpiece for these guys. And Big E can talk. Kofi Kingston can't, but there you are. Who knows? Maybe they'll go heel and we'll finally see a heel Kofi Kingston. Maybe there'll be something interesting with that guy. And I'll have
no, not a heel Kingston.
Yeah, heel Kingston. But yeah, still interesting. And a lot of people have been talking about how this will be a start of a new faction. It will be a start of a new faction. I just don't think they'll call themselves the Nation of Domination. That's just my opinion. So, moving on. We were talking about Rusev last at the pay-per-view, and WWE in hot water. They still are. They've got a lot of negative press about the fact that they stated they made a reference to the shot down airliner in Ukraine. They are in shit about this, and I fully agree with people saying that they should be in shit. I get astounded when fans state that, in the Attitude Era this happened all the time. It wouldn't happen all the time. You're over-exaggerating. Yeah, sometimes it would happen, but it wasn't right then. It still wasn't right then. It's still not right now. It doesn't change whether it's right or not. I think people are really stupid when they say that. They just don't look at the big picture. Get that their head out of their arse and think.
Well, it's but in the Attitude Era, but in the Attitude Era, the WWE wasn't such a big publicly traded company.
Exactly. Yeah. And people are, you want the Attitude Era back, but you can't handle a little statement like this. Well, people have evolved. The way people perceive things has evolved. And in fact, I would say that it was not as if the Attitude Era was referencing these things in terms of people dying and getting shot over a country. That was never ever referenced. Yeah, stuff like having sex with a dead body was referenced, but I know that's still quite morbid, but that was with someone that didn't exist. You know what I mean? They wouldn't reference this sort of stuff back then. Go do your research and come back to us and we'll talk about it. But when people honestly say this stuff, it annoys me because they don't know. They don't know. They just point to it, oh, it's a little bit risque, so you're getting a little bit uppity about it. Well, when it comes to people dying, then I'm a little bit...
Yeah,
you know,
then maybe a little bit.
Exactly. So, Rusev here, you'd think maybe he's going to continue his rivalry with Swagger. No, there is no Swagger to be found, and I firmly believe that is because of the hot shit they got into. They want to cool it down. Lana was about to have a promo, but it was cut by the Great Khali.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and then the worst thing that could possibly happen happened.
Yes, exactly. A Khali match. I was watching this, and man, he looks awkward at the best of times. He is not looking good on his feet, Khali, after all these years. He's not looking healthy, I have to say. He doesn't look like he could get around that ring.
I think we just get rid of him.
Yeah, I don't think there's much more you can do with the guy. I think it's a little bit scary now. I mean, I hate to say this, but he's a bigger guy than most, right? And he is going to have issues walking around, getting around when he gets of age. I just think the more he wrestles, the more you run that risk. And I think he's all right, Khali. He's obviously a nice guy. I just don't want to see him in in a massive wheelchair one day. I just don't want to see that.
Like Big Show with the custom ladders, Khali with his custom wheelchair.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't want anyone. You may dislike Khali, and yeah, I dislike Khali because of his wrestling ability and the way that he gets booked and stuff like that. He's an attraction, not a wrestler. But obviously he's a nice guy. I don't want to see him crippled, anything, and you have to be more careful with him because of his size, more so than Big Show does, because Big Show looks a lot more healthier in his size than Khali.
Saying that, if we actually knew where Big Show was.
Yeah, so yeah. So this match is the usual Rusev stuff, really. Rusev's still selling the ankle damage at the very least, so you have to give him props for that. But yeah, just usual stuff. It's just, yeah. Apparently they're dropping the storyline with Swagger. I firmly disagree. I think I disagree with them doing that. I think you still can get one more match from these guys, and it would be at SummerSlam. I think it would be just as hot. I really do, if you booked it right. But
I think it's just a terrible, terrible thing, because it's it had so much heat, and they really fucked up the finish, and now they're just no.
Yeah, exactly. They pretty much just...
Can we carry it on?
Any ideas of them doing that now? Some people might be saying it's only 1 week, maybe Swagger wasn't around or anything along these lines. The word is backstage that apparently WWE are too scared to continue this because of the shit that they're getting. So, I still firmly believe you could do the storyline. Just don't reference stuff like that anymore. It was an idiotic thing to do anyway. You didn't have to do it. It was fine.
That's it. You can still do sort of the USA Russia thing. Just don't reference the fact that planes are getting shot down.
Yeah, exactly. You could even do the Putin stuff. That isn't that bad, because they've already been doing it. Just don't reference the stuff that's happened. You don't have to. No one expects you to. It doesn't do anything for you. In fact, it put you in the shitter. So there you go. Hopefully they learn from this and they do it again. Stardust and Goldust here have another segment. Apparently they're looking for a cosmic key. I'm guessing they're eventually going to reveal that's the tag titles, and they need the tag titles to launch themselves into outer space. Hopefully they launch themselves in the ring and stop talking, because these segments are getting fucking old. They really are. I'm done with these segments. You can have these segments each week. That would be fine as long as they were competing. But they're not. And now it's just the same stuff over and over and over and over again. I'm not interested. You could see one of these segments. You've seen all of them. I want to be good on Stardust and Goldust. Maybe you enjoy this more than I did, and I do enjoy their segments. I do, but having it over and over and over and over again each week with them not doing anything is not doing anything for them or me. That's my opinion.
I'm going to agree with you there.
Yeah, I did say it's going to get old quick, man. It got an old quick, didn't it? I can guarantee.
Yep.
A lot of other people will be feeling that as well. But yeah, I'm fine with them being wacky. We said this before. We're fine with them being wacky, being crazy, as long as they're booked as competitors. That they use their bizarre nature to put other people off in their matches to win matches. That would be the awesome way to book these guys. But they're not in the ring, and that's the issue here. So, the main event of the night: Cesaro against Ambrose. Ambrose still over big time, even though he's had a lot of losses recently, and didn't even have a match on Battleground. I hope that after this feud with Rollins, because they're going to have another match at SummerSlam, it's going to happen. I hope that they have some sort of direction for this guy afterwards. I do, because at the moment everything's riding on him attacking Rollins, but eventually you have to make this guy step out of that and be better than that. But this match was good. It was a long match. It was good stuff. I disliked the ending. I really did. I don't know whether you thought about this as well. I thought it came to a really abrupt end, just as things were really starting to heat up.
I think it was an unnecessary finish.
Yeah. Ambrose basically decides he's had enough of it, and does a very heel thing of getting a chair and whacking Cesaro with it, getting DQ'd. He loses the match.
Yep.
Crappy finish. I really do agree.
And it spits all over his face.
Yeah. It's just, I thought it was a bit silly. The fans didn't really know what to make of it. They really didn't. They didn't really cheer it. He sat in the ring, and Ambrose was doing his his crazy eyes. And the fans didn't really give the response I'm guessing that they hoped that he would. I think the way that the match was worked, there was no real reason for him to go out and get the chair and whack him with it. Cesaro hadn't tried to cheat beforehand. Maybe if Cesaro kept trying to attack him with the chair. Yeah, maybe if Cesaro kept trying, or maybe he hit him with a chair with the referee down, or maybe he did a move onto a chair he was using it illegally. Ambrose decides, well, turnabout's fair play. I don't give a shit if I get DQ'd. But then again, it's fair then because the heel started it. But whereas Ambrose decides that he's just going to do it anyway.
I think they can get away with it for the fact that he's Ambrose.
I just don't think it works. And the crowd, like I said, the crowd afterwards are a little bit like, okay, do we cheer this? I don't think.
Yeah, it's like, was that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah. The match, however, though, I don't want to gloss over the match. It was good for what was there. I just think that sometimes when you have a good match and you end it in a really bad fashion, it makes me not want to go back and watch the match.
It tarnishes the whole match.
It does. And it was a shame. So, moving on to the end of the show now. Renee Young speaks to Triple H backstage. A very quick thing. She's saying that shouldn't he be with his wife? He just gives Triple H just gives the look of just shut up to Renee Young.
One more outburst, I'm going to fire you.
Yeah, that's it. I do imagine that Steph will have a mini freak out on him next week, saying, "Why did you come to me so quickly?" and stuff like this, and it's going to be interesting. Triple H then comes out. He's announcing the challenger for Cena's title. He says the person challenging will be, and then Orton comes out. But then he gets attacked by Roman Reigns, a bit random. Just comes out and attacks him. Why not? Maybe that's just a thing for the Shield. They just come out and randomly hit people. Why not?
That's it.
Then Heyman comes out to the stage. He explains that with everything that's happened, you have to go with Plan C. And out comes Brock.
That's it. It's like, your Plan A, Randy Orton, Reigns is always going to get in the way. Your Plan B, Seth Rollins, Ambrose is always going to get in the way. Here we go, Plan C.
That's it.
Always going to get the job done.
Yeah. Now, this is Lesnar making his first appearance since he broke the streak. The Raw after WrestleMania was his last appearance.
Yep.
Just as they get into the ring, Triple H decides, well, may as well. So he shakes hands with Lesnar, and the match is made. It's all official. This is just a little bit of a qualm here. I wouldn't have booked it in this fashion. I would have had Orton come out and say how he's proud to be the number one contender, that he's going to take the belts. Then Lesnar come out and decimate the guy and leave Triple H with no choice but to pick Lesnar. That's how I would have done it. To seem Lesnar is not this guy who's the third choice, but he's the only choice because he's not going to let anyone else take his shot. That's how I would have done it.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
But not too much of a gripe, but still how I would have booked it. It's not as if they have to get Lesnar over as a monster. People already know that, but still. It seems like Heyman is back in his element here. We criticised Heyman for a while, saying that he did not do anything for Cesaro. We said that it wasn't entirely his fault because Cesaro wasn't putting any good program really for the last few months. He hasn't done anything really, so it's hard for Heyman. And when they're telling Heyman you must remind people that Brock Lesnar broke the streak, it just gets a little bit tiresome. But he's back with his ideal client now, so he does some of his really good work.
More Heyman gold.
Yeah, that's it. He shows the moment where the streak was broken, a video package, a nice little video segment just to confirm.
No, one person that I realised that they were missing from that video package.
Oh, the guy that's always referenced in all the memes and stuff, isn't it? I can't remember.
Yeah, like the black guy's just like,
yeah.
He wasn't on it.
He was the best guy. He was the best guy. He really was.
That face was just like WrestleMania 31 in like a picture.
I firmly believe because it's been made a little bit of a joke out of. That's probably why they didn't put it up. That's probably what I'm saying. Now. So yeah, that video package was more than enough to remind the fans of what he did. You didn't need Heyman spewing out for months and months. You really didn't. That video package was fine. Just a minute video package reminds everyone of what Lesnar did. Heyman and Cena cannot escape the beating that Lesnar would give him. There's no hiding that Lesnar will injure Cena. He will mangle Cena. He will F5 him and strip him of his dignity and his title. great stuff from Heyman. It's not all of his promo, obviously. There was a lengthy promo here from Heyman, doing what he does best. The best promo he's done since the build-up to WrestleMania, I would say. And I really do think he'll do great work in the next couple of weeks, building up to this match and being Lesnar's mouthpiece. It just seems like when you put Heyman in a top range storyline like this with a guy like with Lesnar that he works really well with, you just get the best stuff out of him. But people might point to this and say, well, why didn't you do this for Cesaro? Well, Cesaro was never put in any sort of program. He wasn't put in any sort of rivalry. He had a feud with Kofi Kingston for a month. You know, what can you do with that?
He had Cesaro like mid card.
Yeah. Exactly.
And all he can do is go, Mike, I'm the one behind the one in 21-1. And there's also this guy, and he kind of won the Andre the Giant Battle Royale. Counts for nothing.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, that's it. You have to at least give him something to work with, and the problem, as we said, he spoke more about Brock Lesnar during his tenure with Cesaro than he did Cesaro. That was the main issue. All the good stuff that Heyman ever did for Cesaro, he always did it when he never referenced Brock Lesnar, or it was just a fleeting mention. But often, whenever he would talk in front of Cesaro matches, it would be just a reason for him to remind people that his client is the one in 21-1 and broke the Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania. So there we are. But that's the main reason there. It's not entirely Heyman's fault. You have to give him something to work with. But like I said, when he's in a program here, it's almost like you give him a fresh lease on life in terms of promo work. He did great stuff here. He really did. So there we are. That finished the show. Brock Lesnar didn't say anything. He didn't beat anyone down. A little bit lackluster in that sense. In fact, you take the Heyman promo away, that was really good. There's actually a little bit of a crappy ending to the show. Like I said, Lesnar didn't come down and annihilate his way to number one contendership. He just came down, didn't say anything.
That's it. He's like, I'm here.
He may as well have not been there, to be honest. But still, I think that this week's Raw in general had some ups and downs. I think ultimately had a few missed opportunities. I do think that. I think that they missed a lot of chances to have some really good moments. And I think there was a lot. The first hour of the show was pretty abysmal. It was a really poor start way to the show. But it picked up. It did pick up as things went on, and the wrestling got better. We got to see more people that we wanted to see. Maybe that's how WWE want to do it now. They give you the first hour of crap, and then maybe the last 2 hours are somewhat better. So, what's your thoughts on this week's Raw? Was it a thumbs up or a thumbs down from Matt Sanders?
It's a meh.
A meh, in the middle. I'd agree.
Yeah, there were some good points, and then there were some weak points, and
you could miss this show. You could miss this show very easily, and you wouldn't miss it much. That's what I would say. All the stuff that you.
I don't know. I mean, you'd have sort of denied yourself sort of some good matches in the form of sort of Ziggler, Miz, and Ambrose Cesaro. But that's about it.
Yeah, that's about it. And for a 3-hour show, just to catch two of those matches will probably take up about maybe 40 minutes together. Not exactly that much. But so yeah, like I said, there are some stuff that you want to see on the show, and I would recommend that you go see it if you're into the stories of WWE. Like for instance, Paige turning heel. That was a good bit.
That was a good section.
But apart from that, it is a little bit shaky. It wasn't like they I think they wanted to hit it out of the park. It just didn't turn out that way. Maybe it was the crowd didn't exactly help. They didn't seem that hot on a few of their segments. No. But still, we're in the middle on this one. It was okay. It was
an average Raw.
It was an average Raw, yeah. An average Raw, but different. It's not like a mediocre one where it's not actually a throwaway episode of Raw, which is odd, but it is still average. So there we are. So let's move on to our topic for this week. We're talking about. I want to be careful about this because I don't want to categorically say that we're talking about racism, right? Because racism is a different thing than what we're talking about. We're just asking whether WWE suffers from a degree of being less likely to book Japanese or maybe foreign talent strongly over their American talent. Now, some people would just call that flat out racism, but I don't. But our core as a company, and I firmly believe that Vince McMahon isn't racist, or
Oh, no.
I mean, you look at a lot of a lot of people say that there's been no black WWE champion. There's never been. I firmly believe that if the likes of Bobby Lashley,
Ron Simmons,
Ron Simmons, but he was a WCW champion. He was never a WWE champion. We mean the big title.
Oh, okay.
There's been plenty of black IC champions and everything like that, but yeah, I firmly believe that if Bobby Lashley was around, he would at least had one title reign. I really do believe that. I just think that a lot of these guys that come in, unfortunately, that come from there's not been many big stars that have come over in the mold of what Vince McMahon wants. Like that, you know.
That's true.
Which is a bit.
Well, Lashley fit that mold.
Lashley fit that mold. I firmly believe that if he had stayed with the company, then he would be champion. He would have been champion at least once. I firmly believe that. I really do. Now, WWE you could make a strong argument against that, saying, well, they've had look at Roman Reigns. You know, he's not the typical or The Rock. You know, you've got The Rock there as a champion. You've got Alberto Del Rio, who's still booked pretty favourably, and he was WWE champion. So there is an argument to stay against that. There really is. That WWE, I don't think that WWE are racist. I think it in terms of skin color. I really don't think that. I do believe, though, however, if they get a Japanese talent, that in times past they have been less likely to push that talent over.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there.
Yeah. Now, this situation comes up because of obviously the arrival of KENTA, who is a extremely talented professional wrestler, and a lot of people are worried that WWE are just going to either give him a comedy gimmick, which would be laughable, in the wrong way, of course, or they just won't ever put him up to that level. Now, I think one of the main issues with Japanese talent coming over is that they don't know the language. That's the first thing. I firmly believe that you double your chances of being treated as a competitor in WWE if you know the language. If you really dedicate yourself to learn the language and be able to cut promos. The reason why WWE don't put a lot of these guys into main event situations is because they can't do a good feud because they can't talk on the mic. That's the issue.
Well, we look at Sin Cara.
Yeah, exactly. That's his botches and his lack of being able to actually speak was huge.
Sort of like he'd botch and then he'd just sort of turn up. He wouldn't. Like, his intentions were just the fact that he came out and kicked a guy.
Yeah.
But there was nothing behind his intentions.
Exactly.
He couldn't sell it.
And with that fact as well, I firmly believe that if you're going to a foreign country to ply your trade, I firmly believe you should learn the language of that country. I wouldn't move to Japan for years and years and years to do my job and not learn Japanese. I would not do that. I would learn Japanese because I live in that country. I think it's naive for some people to come over and not learn the language. I firmly believe.
At least have a sort of a grasp of it.
Yes. I firmly believe if KENTA, I firmly believe now because WWE is a much different place. It really is than maybe times where Kenzo Suzuki was around and they were making such a deal of him and making him very stereotypical and Funaki and all that stuff. Indeed, some would say.
Who were the ones that cut Val Venus's dick off?
God. Shameless pay-per-view plot, man. Shameless pay-per-view plot. I don't know. Personally, but they were of Japanese descent, I think.
Yeah, they were like sort of like a little knockoff Yakuza, weren't they?
What was it? I choppy your wee wee, I think they said.
Yeah.
God. Anyway, moving back, I firmly believe that if KENTA comes in, he learns the language and can cut decent promos in the English language. I firmly believe there's every chance of him becoming a huge star and maybe becoming champion one day.
I saw a quick interview with KENTA and Renee Young. I mean, they had a translator there, but KENTA genuinely replied everything in English.
Oh, really? So he knows roughly, yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon if he works on it and really gets good in it and translate that into his promo work, then I think there's every chance of the guy. Maybe 20 years ago, that wouldn't have been the case. I fully agree with people that say that. But I think that WWE and people in general, just society in general, is much more accepting of not only foreign cultures, but also, different terms of sexuality, like gay and bisexual or transgender.
Oh, yeah, completely. Well, then you say that. What's happening to Darren Young?
Yeah, but I think the difference is, right, I firmly believe that someone shouldn't be pushed just because they're gay. Because they're different. Yeah. I firmly believe Darren Young is exactly where he should be. I don't think he's good enough on the mic. I don't think he's good enough in the ring.
Where he should be. Nowhere.
Yeah, I do believe that. I'm a big fan of companies.
Treatment.
Yeah, no special treatment. They should be treated exactly the same. Imagine if WWE had made Darren Young IC champion just because he was gay. That does more damage for the gay community than treating him like an equal. I firmly believe that. Because it's just this. It's hard to speak of. I always feel like I'm walking on eggshells because I don't want to offend anyone, and we're very open here. Like so, we have no racism here on this show. We firmly believe that if someone's good enough, they should be champion. Doesn't matter if they're straight, gay, if they're black or white, or if they're Japanese or American. If you're good enough, you're good enough. That's all it is. You know, that's our only requirement.
What it comes down to.
Yeah. So I think WWE are okay now. I honestly do, and I think people that point them and say, "Well, you're racist for not pushing this guy," if he doesn't learn the language, or if he doesn't really put himself into working in an American product because he's working on an American show, then that's their issue. They haven't obviously gone into it that well. I think anyone that doesn't learn the language...
Or if anything, they could give him like a Del Rio Rodriguez sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Not like Tensai, because that was just pathetic.
Yeah. I to a degree there, right? I also believe that if you've got a mouthpiece that speaks for you, I don't think that will ever make you a top star. I firmly believe that. And people say, oh, Brock Lesnar, he's got a top star, he's got a mouthpiece. But people know that he can speak English. You know, people know that he's capable, if he wants to, of talking. He just chooses not to. Whereas if you've got someone
like Rodriguez and Del Rio.
Yeah, like if you've got someone there who you know for sure cannot speak English, it takes the gloss off it a little bit.
Sure, Lana Rusev.
Yeah. I just think that if you don't learn the language, then you're setting yourself back. I don't think you can ever blame the company for not making you a top star if they can't send you on these media dates and you can't speak the language. You don't know what people are saying to you. I firmly believe you have to. And I would say the opposite. I say the opposite as well. That let's say Daniel Bryan signs for New Japan Pro Wrestling, goes there and obviously it's not going to happen. But if he does do that and goes to wrestle there, do you really think that guy would have any qualms about not being their top star if he couldn't speak the language? Like he would obviously have to speak Japanese. That's the way it goes. Now that's WWE. Now we are going to talk about racism that is in wrestling, and it does count, right? WCW is a big place for it, all right. When we're going to go back to Vince Russo. He firmly believes that Japanese wrestlers can't get over, therefore he doesn't give them the chance to. And he firmly believes that a lot of people can't get over, so he doesn't. He books them in comedy roles or undercard matches. You look at all the times that that wrestlers, not only in WCW but when he was booking in TNA, he had by general acclamation the world's best wrestler, who was also Japanese, in that company, and he did not book him correctly. So there you go. There's Russo, and he's done that to a lot of other people. In regards to that,
which wrestler are you referring to?
I can't remember the name. People are going to burn me for this. They really are. But I'm not. I don't watch lots of Japanese wrestling. But I can't. I know the name, but I don't want to say it because I know I'll get it wrong, or I might say the wrong name. So I'm not. I don't watch lots of Japanese wrestling, so I'm trying to step on a minefield here. Someone say it in the comments anyway. I have watched him wrestle. He is fantastic, but I just can't remember his name outright.
Do it.
No. I think his name is Tanahashi, but I can't say for sure. I think I've even said that wrong. So
okay.
There we go. I've probably got it wrong. But still, he had them with the company, and he's booked them horrendously, and he's done that as well in WCW. And like I said, some bookers do believe the same thing. They believe that Japanese wrestlers can't get over, so they won't book them they won't have any thoughts of booking them in a situation where they can do it. I just don't believe the WWE are in that mindset anymore. I really don't believe so. And I also don't believe that TNA, even though Russo's with the company, we broke that news. We said that news earlier on that he is obviously with the company. I firmly believe that TNA. They've had Sonata as the X Division champion and they haven't booked him very well, but I firmly believe if they had a guy that fit the mold and could got over with the fans in America and could speak American, that they would make him something of him. I firmly believe so, that they would do so because it's a lot more open now, and I like that fact as well. I firmly believe that the American public would not snuff their nose at actually seeing a Japanese wrestler, you know. I think they would. I think if someone came along that they could get behind, they could really get into, and the promos and everything along those lines, I reckon they would get behind him. What do you think that? Do you think that they maybe? Do you think that the public is ready?
I agree with you. I mean, if you've got a guy in who's capable enough at the ring and capable enough for delivering a strong enough promo,
yeah,
and if you stick him with a good enough story,
yeah,
anyone will get behind him.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think it's past the time where it's just like he's just a fucking Jap and all things like that. No.
No.
We're well past that.
Yeah.
And it's just it was socially unacceptable to hold that sort of mindset as well.
Yeah, people would stuff their nose at people who think that way, rather than 20 years ago people would stuff their nose at the wrestler.
Yeah, completely.
Which is good. I'm glad things have gone that way because, as we said, if you're good enough, you're good enough. Doesn't matter where you come from along those lines. But there's my thoughts on it in a sense that WWE and all wrestling companies that have been televised have been guilty of not booking foreign talent very, very well. I firmly believe that sometimes it is their fault, that they don't learn the language, that they don't acclimate themselves to the American style and the fact they're on American TV. They still wrestle and they still talk as if they're still in their home country, which they're not. You don't see like I said, we don't see American wrestlers going to Japan and wrestling the American way. You know, they wrestle the way that the fans over there want you to wrestle. You're in an entertainment business.
That's it.
Not saying that the Americans don't want Japanese wrestling. In fact, I'm British and I prefer Japanese wrestling. Every single time I can watch it, I can.
Yeah, some Japanese wrestling's amazing. I've actually seen a couple of Kenta matches since the word of him coming over, and we've got some good stuff coming.
Yeah, if it was more readily available to me, I would watch a lot more. It's just not, unfortunately, and that's the way it is.
Unfortunately, it's YouTube. That's pretty much what I rely on.
Yeah, that's it. I still, and because obviously, if the rumours go around, I know JR referenced it on his podcast that he wanted CM Punk to join him, do commentary for New Japan Pro Wrestling. Man, I'm going to eat that shit up. I would buy an pay-per-view if that was the case. But I wanted so I can understand what's going on in terms of these wrestlers' backgrounds, because I don't know. I'm new to all that, to a lot of it, you know. So I would need the American the American commentators or English-speaking commentators to tell me that, because I don't know Japanese wrestling. So it'd be cool to have like a insider course in terms of what's going on in like New Japan Pro Wrestling, because I haven't seen anything recently of that. You know, a lot of stuff is classic matches, 5-star matches.
Surely there'd be an English dub one, because a lot of New Japan Pro Wrestling holds quite a heavy English speaking portion of their roster.
Oh really? I don't know.
You've got the Bullet Team, so you've got like AJ Styles and all that lot.
Yeah. If anyone's huge into it, then please let us know. We'll be happy to talk about it, because it's something that, man, you can't. If you give us really good Japanese wrestling in front of us, we're gonna watch that shit. We really.
I think
really cool.
Sort of like I said, with the fact that I've watched quite a few Kenta matches, we've got good stuff coming.
Yeah.
There will be one slight problem though.
Mm-hmm.
Take Punk and mix him with Bryan. And that's your moveset and style.
Yeah. Kind of opens it up though that obviously CM Punk's no longer with the company, so at least that's good. I still think Kenta's good enough. I really do. I honestly think.
There's no denying that, but he does do the GTS, he does the Labelle Lock, the running knee and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay.
A lot of the stuff I'd say about Kenta, right? I'm excited for Kenta. You look at the guy, he dresses well, he looks good, he's a good-looking guy, he really is. I haven't seen any of his promo work because obviously he doesn't have that much of a good grasp on the English language. Nor would I expect him to yet. He's just signed. I expect him to put in the work though, but to get there in the end. But I don't know how good he is. But obviously we've seen matches. We know the guy is just pure quality. We know that. But it's a matter now of whether he can really adapt himself. And I firmly believe that if he gets over with the crowd, that WWE can't deny that. And I don't think they would force him away from it either. I really don't think that would be the case. If he gets over, he gets over, and they'll make the most of that. I think it'll be like if he gets over like Daniel Bryan did. It'll be stupid.
It's like we're going to have a competent Yoshitatsu.
Yeah. I think the problem with the Yoshitatsu, right, is there's quite a good thing that you actually brought him up, right? I think the issue with Yoshitatsu, and the fact that they didn't book him correctly, I think the guy was good enough in the ring. I think he was horrible on the mic. I think that was his main issue, Yoshitatsu.
Yeah.
He came over like a really nice guy. And the problem is that doesn't really get you much in American wrestling.
Apparently that really nice guy thing was true to life outside the ring as well.
Apparently, of what I've heard for Yoshitatsu, he doesn't have a bad bone in his body. He's just a very genuinely nice guy who maybe wasn't cut out for the wrestling fans that wanted fierce and harsh, battles and promos and stuff like this. Whereas over in obviously where his homeland is, it's much more acceptable to have a guy like that as long as he gets the stuff done in the ring. But obviously it's different places. That's why I say sometimes when you come over as a Japanese wrestler and you wrestle well but you don't do your promos, and then you go back wondering, well, they obviously misused me. Well, you should know that in that country, that's what they expect of you. You go there and you give them. You don't sign with a company if you don't think you're going to be able to do a good storyline or be able to do a good promo work, because that's half of your work. You know, if you could be the best wrestler in the world and not talk, that's not going to get you far in WWE, and you should know that going in. I think people, and also expect people to be intelligent enough to understand that before they sign contracts with a company. I really do believe that. So, is there anything more that you'd like to add on that list at all, or are we done here? Are we wrapping up?
I think we're done.
I think we're done here, guys. Thank you guys here for catching the podcast. We'd love to hear your thoughts on that topic. It's, like I said, I hope I didn't offend anyone. It's really easy to offend people when you talk about this sort of stuff. I hope you understand where we're coming from. So, what I hope that you guys do is that if you enjoy the podcast, that you subscribe and you like the video. Why not support us? You can share us all around social media. We're doing great, guys. We really enjoy the support, but any more support you can give us is always awesome. You can also follow us on our Twitter at TalkWrestlePod. There'll be it'll actually be on the page in front of you if you're watching the video, so you'll be able to see that as well. You can ask us any questions on that Twitter, and Matt will either answer it or he'll answer it, and it'll get featured on the podcast. So there you go. There's a good chance of it going on there. It'll also post up some pretty awesome stuff on there. The things that you may miss on there, but that we've got an eagle eye on. But apart from that, guys, I think we're out of here.
We're good.
And we'll catch you again next week for another episode of Raw and TNA review. I'm
try and get some NXT done.
Yeah, try hopefully. Yeah, hopefully things open up for me next week. Things have been so busy, as I said, with the house. I've now got to go prepare for a gaming podcast on Monday. I'm all talked out, as I said before, on the Let's Talk More Wrestling that we did during the week. Anyone think I like the sound of my own voice, and I really don't. So,
3 a week for you, son. Yeah.
3 a week, which is a lot for me, but still. I'm going to go and relax for the weekend. I've earned my rest, and we'll see you guys next week. We hope you have a great week, and we'll catch you again soon.
See you soon.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.